Welcome to the cave.
Hello, welcome back, everybody.
This is going to be awesome. It's the original duo.
The only duo that matters, really.
This is how this was supposed to just be, and then faggots had to get involved.
The two intellectuals discussing important things instead of having two dumbasses discussing poop and fart jokes throughout.
Two tryhards.
That's good. Good. They're going to love hearing that.
Yeah, they need to hear it. Somebody needs to tell them. I just kept hearing, God, you got to get those guys off of there. So I was like, what better way to do it than just Jeff and I put this awesome podcast together?
Yeah, and then the people will vote.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, perfect.
Plus, they're too busy anyway. Josh is about to buy a house. Some of those houses he's putting up are pretty nice.
Yeah, not bad considering Florissant area. He keeps discussing, how are the schools? Okay, well, when you're looking at a house in Florissant, there's going to be one. So, I mean, that's the best input I can give you there, Josh.
That one that you posted was pretty freaking nice, that house. It's
A couple of them were, considering the price, like one of them was like 65 or something thousand. That's a pretty damn good deal, but I think he's failing to realize that a lot of that, it's not move-in ready, and I believe the type of loan that he's getting is, they have to be move-in ready. But I could be wrong. I don't know what type of loan he's getting. I thought he was getting FHA.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Which I don't know much about FHA. I just know VA loans. And I thought pretty much most of the government loans, they have to pass inspection and stuff before you can move in. Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah, I'm not even sure. But yeah, so he's gonna be busy with that, and Brett, of course, has a wife and a child to tend to.
So he's got the most going for him, and you have a wife and a kid too.
Yeah, but that's kind of why we have to do things over here.
I guess that makes sense. And me, I'm just kind of at this point, just waiting for the next step.
Oh,
and then pretty soon I'll have that the same. What do you want to call
foreshadow?
it? Yeah, without offending anybody that's listening. What's the word or term I'm looking for here? Before I'm chained down?
Ball and chain?
Could be a ball and chain? Okay. Yes, before I'm chained down.
So have you, I guess, well, I know you guys have talked about it.
Oh, no, we definitely are. Some of her family members that are listening to this right now may not knew that, but I think it's pretty obvious. Actually, I think Katie's been talking to her family about it, too.
I'm sure she's probably like, if this fucking motherfucker doesn't marry me soon, I'm going to something better.
Pretty much, yeah. She threatens it daily. I'm getting another man. Any man be lucky to have all this.
And then she gets naked.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I got a boner.
Sorry, Michael.
He's got one too, don't worry.
So wrong.
But so right.
So I guess this episode we're going to discuss, for the most part, I mean, my original idea was, I'm sure that'll kind of get integrated into it, but I wanted to discuss some of the crappy stuff going on with the government because of something that affected me. But on a more lighter note, though, too, considering I have not done this yet, the float experience is something that I've been wanting to do, and Mike had told me about it a few years ago, actually. And at least now I'll have more, hopefully after this is done, I'll have more of a reason to make myself go and do it, considering I have not done it yet. It's supposed to be incredible. So I guess we're just going to discuss that a little bit. And maybe if we have some time, we can go back and discuss how Barack Obama sucks.
But gas prices are so low right now.
Oh, fuck off. Yeah, I'm sure the low gas prices really mean a lot for those 20 employees that just got laid off at my job this last Friday. So
it's so crazy how much so much of the government's hand plays in everybody's life. And
it's like we're a 12-year-old girl and Barack Obama's that really creepy guy with the truck. And, he gets him in the truck and is like, hey, here, let me touch your little gushy spot.
I got some candy.
I got some candy for you. That's what Barack is doing. He's raping us, literally. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, the floating. So I guess we should kind of do a run-through of what a deprivation tank is for those that do not know.
Yeah, maybe we can find some sort of educational blurbs out there somewhere on the internet that kind of gives a rundown of what it affects. And for the most part, it's just it gives you, it's sensory deprivation. So I pretty much understand what it does. I believe I know quite a bit. just have never actually experienced it. So me, with all my research and watching research, I mean YouTube videos, because it's not like who the fuck goes to the library anymore? Anyway,
You can't even say library, let
exactly
alone go to.
right. Who the fuck goes to a library? But it just gives you sensory deprivation from all of your senses. So if you're not aware of what sensory deprivation is it is being deprived of one's senses. It's kind of self-explanatory.
So the guy that invented this, he was actually experimenting. He had a hypothesis that if you took away all 5 senses so that the brain would get 0 input, that your body and your mind would automatically go to sleep. You would just fall asleep if you had no sensory input at all. And what he found was his hypothesis was wrong, but the outcome is actually way cooler than just falling asleep. So basically, like you said, you get into a tank that takes away all 5 senses. So you can't see, you can't smell, you can't taste, you can't feel. What am I missing? You can't hear.
Yeah, there you go.
So you lay in a pool of water that's about 14 to 15 inches deep, and it's filled with like 2,000 pounds of Epsom salt. So
very buoyant.
Yeah. So if anybody's ever heard about the Dead Sea, where you just float in the Dead Sea because it has so much salt in it.
It's just very dense.
And I remember laying in it, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like it would be impossible to drown in this. Like you can try to like force yourself down, and it's not.
Can't.
It's like holding a ball underwater, like in normal water.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
it just forces up. So you're floating. So the sense of gravity is deprived. Like you still can tell that you have gravity, but it's lessened. So it kind of feels like you're in a 0 gravity.
That's cool.
And it's completely dark, at least it should be, and there's no sound because your ears are underwater.
Do they put earplugs or anything in as well?
You can put earplug. I did, they had earplugs there that you could use, and you can't smell anything because it's a completely sterile environment.
Okay.
So there's no smells, there's no odors at all.
Unless maybe you didn't clean your ass that morning.
If you fart in there, which happened to me.
I bet it was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Mixed with, did it make it worse because it was salt?
No, I think it was like a filtered fart. It was a nice smelling filtered
that
fart.
That makes sense. Okay, the tank is literally a filtration unit for your farts. You heard it first here on The Cave.
So basically what it does is something that your mind has never been able to do. And your mind is basically just this thing stuck inside this vessel that gets constant input. You're constantly hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting at all times. So you're put into an environment that literally you can't experience anywhere else in the world. And it's something as simple as going into a dark tank full of salt water that you can experience this, different things. They say it's hard to do your first time. It's like with anything, it takes practice. And it took me a good 15, 20 minutes before I was like, okay, I'm laying here, I'm fine. I'm just going to try to let my mind free. Because you're floating around, you're not really used to just being completely buoyant, and you're hitting the walls. And so you have to kind of just calm yourself and try to get in the best position as possible. But it's definitely fucking wicked. Like I didn't hallucinate. Like they say you can hallucinate. I didn't hallucinate really, but I felt like I was in a dream, like I could control a dream, but it wasn't something, it was definitely something being played to me, and it made me open up to Nikki to tell her something that I have never told anyone ever. And, she was like, what do you think about it? I was like, I got to tell you this, like my spirit guide or someone like was telling me, you have to tell Nikki this thing. And I did. Like, I was just like, okay, I'm going to listen to whatever this thing is.
Awesome.
And it's like a dream. I was talking to Nikki. I had a dream about her sister, completely platonic.
Yeah, right.
And if it wasn't platonic, I would tell you. But I was watching, her and I were watching Mason. Or no, I was sick. I worked from home, but Nikki's sister came over to watch Mason. Well, I fell asleep on the bed, and I wake up, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I walk in, and I'm like, God, what time is it? And
okay, hold on. This sounds like a porno. This is like the exact same opening scene of a porno I watched the other day. Are you sure this is okay? Go ahead, continue.
No, it isn't. It isn't. But I remember. How did it work? When I explained it to Nikki, I was like, "Oh man, that was fucking weird." But I was thinking, God, it's late. You know, she should be here by now. And God, I wish I could remember. But for something, she told me something that I didn't know. Like she was like, "Oh, it's 7," and I'm like, "No, there's no way it's 7. You know, she would be home by now." And then I look at the clock, and it was 7. But it was like, she's me in my mind. I should have known it was 7, but she was telling me that it was 7, and I was like, "No, there's no way that it's 7." But she knew it. But it's my mind telling her to tell me. You know what I mean?
That's weird, yeah.
Well, that's what it was like in the spirit guy. Like I know it's me, my mind telling me, "Hey, you need to do this."
But it's almost like it's an
But it's like
external source.
Yeah, it's not coming from me. I mean, at least it doesn't feel that way. So maybe it's just so deep in the
This
subconscious.
is exactly Carl Pilkington's explanation of his mind. That's what it sounds like. Because where it's like separate. It's like, well, you know when your mind tells you something, but you know it does make sense though. They were making fun of him for that, but it does actually.
No,
make
yeah.
sense.
There's definitely something so deep in your subconscious where you have no idea where it comes from. It just comes from somewhere, and you listen to that. You know, it's that voice in the back of your head that, "Hey, you probably shouldn't be doing this," or
Yeah.
But it's deeper than that. Like it literally told me an exact direction, and I listened to it. And I, in my conscious mind, I mean, I've been with Nikki for 13, 14 years. I never wanted to tell her this consciously, but my subconscious told me to tell her, and it took that experience to open up the subconscious to do it.
That's
But,
really interesting.
Yeah, so it was definitely I could see like doing it 3, 4, 5 times because that was my first time ever doing it. And some people don't get anything their first time. So I was thinking, man, if that got that my first time, if I could do it 4, 5, or 6 times, man, it's limitless. Like,
And how long did you do it for? How long?
It was an hour long.
And you can go up to several hours, but they recommend 1 hour for your first time.
Yeah, and it was weird. The lady knocked on the door, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like it felt like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And she let me float an extra 10 or 15 minutes because they were kind of late letting me get in.
Oh, okay.
So I was in there for like an hour and 10 minutes, and she was like, "Hey, it's time to go." And I was like, "Whoa," you know, like almost like you're waking up. But I was conscious the whole time. But she knocked, and I'm just like, "Ugh," you know, kind of waking up, feeling like I'm waking up.
I mean, would you say it's like an out of body type of experience?
Oh,
because the whole point of it is that you're supposed to be separate. You're kind of separating your mind from your body, and where it lets you experience the like absence of the body and what it does and interferes with your interaction.
I was flying over like childhood homes, and this guide was taking me and like taking me into childhood homes and like showing me exact things that happened better than I remember them consciously. Like, I mean, looking back at it, I'm like, oh my God, our couch was there. We did have an end table there. There was a thing there.
Wow.
But like, you don't remember it, but whenever you're thrown into it, you're like, holy shit, oh my God, this is like the exact setup. And so I was flying over, and the guide kept trying to make me go to this one place, and I'm like, I'm not going there, because I knew what they were going to show me, and I'm like, I'm not going there. And this thing kept telling me, well, if you don't go, I can't take you any further. Like, you have to get over this hump to go deeper. And I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm not going any deeper then. Like, I was arguing with it, and I won the argument with my subconscious. I'm like, I'm not going. And then they finally gave up. And then I just kind of laid there for a while and just like didn't do any. I couldn't get back into the mode. Like, I guess I just talked myself out of wherever I was at.
Next time you should just
go with it.
Yeah, go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's good that you actually have some assimilation of control, though, because that would be really kind of freaky if you didn't. If you lost control, I mean, that's how you lose your shit.
Yeah.
And I think we know about that.
Yeah. We should talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
So we talking about it
I mean, we're kind of going down that road anyway.
And it reminded me of that. That was the first time Jeff and I had tried. Well, you talk about what we tried.
The synthetic marijuana, which I want to first go on the record here for everybody listening before you press a judgment. This was years ago. I mean, at this point,
it was legal at the time.
Yeah, and it was legal. So years ago plus legal, meaning we were going to openly and freely discuss this without your judgment.
And we were kids.
And we were kids. But anyway, it's a synthetic marijuana called K2. Some of you may have heard of it. Some of you probably have smoked it. But basically what it is that it's a herb or plant, and they spray this chemical on it. This chemical is completely synthetic, however, so the potency could be very high to very low depending on what batch you get. So I remember I had tried some, and I mean, you were able to buy this in the gas station.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
ordered
like-
mine online, but yeah,
I mean,
at
you
that
could.
time
I think yours was a little bit. Obviously, it was way more potent. The stuff that you bought.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But the stuff that I bought, a couple of my buddies, we had tried it. It made me a little silly. I'd never done any type of drug really. I don't even know if I had ever even taken pain medicine for my back at that point back then. But anyway, it was just made you a little silly, relax. I'm like, okay, so we tried it again at Mike's house. We obviously had a much different experience and much more horrifying experience. We, as Mike can tell you firsthand, and this is no BS, a psychotic episode.
Yeah,
that we actually
the only
had
way I could explain it.
Psychotic episode. We were looping in time. That's the best way I can put it. We were very cognizant of the fact that we were looping in time, though. We were in complete control and had 100% knowledge that, okay, well, we're about to do this again. I remember one point I was like, okay, I keep looping this one point over where two of my buddies are there and they're laughing and having a good time, and I look over at them they're repeating, and I'm like, oh my god, I know what they're gonna say, and I'm saying what they're gonna say, and they're saying, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, I have to get out of this. I have to snap. What am I gonna do to get out of this horrific loop that I'm stuck in? And I just remember I had to loop over and over and over, and it felt like I don't know, 8 or 9 hours, but it was actually only about 15 minutes total.
Yeah.
But 8 or 9 real hours is what my mind felt that it was like. And it was very scary. Felt that I died, went to hell. Yes, literally died and went to hell. Then later I had hallucinations even afterwards. Whole ordeal with that too. I mean, it was just very, very bad stuff.
It was the first time that I had ever realized that you have no control of your mind at times, and you can literally be trapped inside of your mind. And
That's a great explanation.
And it freaked me the fuck out.
It freaked me. It freaked us both the fuck out.
And I had the exact same thing, the loop. And I was trying to change it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look at Cooper's leash. Now I'm gonna look at Josh. Now I'm gonna look at Nikki. Now I'm gonna look up. And then I would get back to Cooper's leash, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go to the next thing. And I would do something different, but the different thing that I did, it would lead me to the next.
That's
the
exactly
next loop. Yeah, and it was freaking me out because I'm like,
but that's what's so weird is that me and you had the exact same experience.
Yep. And I can see why, like, a lot of people say that there's a theory that religion came from different hallucinogens, like shamans would use mushrooms, or some tribe would use some kind of thing, and they would have this feeling of an entity, like a spirit.
Yeah.
And I felt that, like, to the nth degree. Like, I'm most of my life I've not believed in God, or I don't want to say I'm an atheist, but agnostic is what I would.
Yeah.
There's the cop-out term that I would use, just because I don't know what the fuck there is.
Well, at least you're not ignorant on it. You're pretty honest.
But that was a time where I'm like, holy shit! Like, there really could just be something out there that is not understandable to the human race. Like, that was the first time where I'm like, holy fuck! There could be. I was showed the beginning of the world. I was showed my whole life. I watched in great detail my whole life, and like you were saying, you felt like it was 9 hours. I felt
Yours
like
was worse.
100 years.
Yeah, yours was a lot worse.
I was there for 100 years. And it was weird because when I was in that world, I couldn't explain this world. I couldn't explain this. Like, I remember when I was coming down and the cops were there. And, they were asking us, oh, what did you do? And I'm like, oh, we smoked K2. And in my mind, I'm like, why did we do that? Oh, it's kind of like getting drunk. And I'm like, what's getting drunk? Like, that isn't, what do we do? Oh, we alters our state. What? That's fucking weird. We drink to alter our state? Like, nothing that we did in this physical world made any sense when I was in that world. And then when I came out of it, it was so hard to explain that world.
Yeah,
but when I was in that world, everything made sense in that world. And I'm just like, fuck. But yeah,
man,
dude,
because
was,
I'm the same way, because, man, I could have swore that when some of my buddies were driving me home, I could have swore that I was God. I could have swore I was God.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the Big Bang, and I was actually freaking crying.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It was so weird. And finally anyway, I thought I was going to win the lottery and change my life because I was God. So I was
Such
like,
a great deity you are.
Right,
My
exactly. I was
selfish
like,
deity.
I'm going to change these lottery numbers on this lottery ticket. I go, fine, I need a lottery ticket. I'm
Fuck
storming-
world peace. I need this lotto.
Yes. And then so I'm going through my house, and my friends are still there, and they're like, dude, you got to just lay down, man. Just lay down. I'm like, no, I got this. I won the lottery. I won the lottery. And at that point, I didn't win the friggin' lottery. I was like, I need a ticket. Well, wait, Jeff, you said you won the lottery, but you don't have a ticket? I won the lottery, all right? And so I got the ticket. I'm like, look, watch, guys. I'm going to change these numbers. I'm going to win the lottery. And I swear to God, I thought I was changing the lottery ticket to win the lottery.
You swear to Jeff, you mean?
I'm sorry, I swear to Jeff that I was changing the lottery ticket so I could win. And I went online, and I remember I was even hallucinating that when I went online, the numbers on the computer actually were changing to what my ticket said.
Yeah.
And I thought I won the lottery. And then one of my other friends drove up. He wasn't there. He just, I guess, showed up later. And I'm like, oh, so do you like your new Mustang, Scott? And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you like your new Mustang outside? And bam! I was like, snap my fingers like I just created a Mustang out of thin air. And I'm like, you're welcome. I just created you a fucking Mustang. You're welcome.
Like you would want a piece of shit Mustang.
Right.
Anyway.
I know.
Dude, you're God. Can I get a fucking
I know.
Ferrari?
How about a damn Lamborghini, Ferrari, something with a price tag on it? Jeez.
No, and ever since then, I mean, it literally took me. I mean, I could act like I was normal after about a week, like I was completely. But it
Yes.
took me a good 6 months to a year to snap back into like, okay, this is complete reality.
This
like,
is reality.
yeah.
Yes.
I was afraid that like I would jump back into that, just driving and be like, oh fuck, I'm on a loop.
Oh, right. Yeah. That would be fucking scary if you're in a loop while driving.
but
Imagine that.
But it completely changed my outlook of like what could be real. Like I always talk about, like I was talking about the holographic theory that
Yeah.
everything's just a hologram that's showed to you like a movie.
Yeah.
It totally proved to me that like everything we perceive could be completely fake, because I literally lived 100 years and I literally saw the same thing that I know could not have happened the exact same way millions of times over and over and over and over and over again. And it was all perceived in my mind due to chemical reactions. So it absolutely proved to me that, we could definitely be in a simulation reality, because
If it was that easily tampered with
exactly
our wires.
by just inhaling a drug could make you live 100 years of fucking hell, then
Yeah.
absolutely that this world could just be portrayed to you as like a movie.
And I know everybody probably is thinking, oh, well, that sounds a whole lot like Inception, huh? When you go down to...
Was that movie even out when we...
No,
yeah.
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
So,
you know
no,
what?
No, not at
I
all.
know for a fact, because Nikki and I went to see that movie.
Oh, and it freaked me the fuck
Yes.
out. And Prince of Persia.
See,
I remember I
didn't see
saw
that.
Prince of Persia. The scene is he goes back in time and starts over.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, because at one point I had a 15-minute loop of time that kept repeating a 15-minute block of time over and over. Cops came down into the basement, or paramedics came down the basement about 15 times. This
Yeah.
thing, 15 times in 15 minutes. That was just one loop.
Yep.
So imagine 100 other segments of 15 minutes repeating over and over. It was like stages in a video game.
Yeah.
And I had to pass this stage to get to the next one in order to move forward in my fucking life.
Yeah. and I remember because we were watching Inception in
it's
the movie
freaking-
theater.
It's creepy.
And Nikki and I'm sitting like this, like you could. I'm like, I'm white as a ghost. Like I'm holy shit, this is freaking me out. And Nikki actually grabs me. She's like, "Are you okay?" Like, 'cause she could tell that obviously that I was
Yeah.
having like not a flashback, but like, holy shit, this is kind of hitting a little close to home, kind of thing. So yeah, I remember that.
And that's what I was
Yeah.
at, like Prince of Persia. Right when that happened, I remember my heart started beating. I got really uncomfortable, and I was like looking around. I'm like, "Oh shit, am I actually at the movie theater,
Yeah,
or am I gonna start back at that point where I look over at Josh and they're like, ha 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 ha?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh shit, I
Starts
just started
over
all
from
over
there.
again."
Yep. Yeah. No, I told Nikki that's scary. Like, because I can see how when people, and we were just doing low grade fucking fake ass shit.
Right, I know.
That's why I told Nikki I could never do drugs, because I mean I would flip out. And I hear about these kids in Amsterdam where mushrooms and acid's legal,
Yeah.
and they jump off of a bridge or they jump off of a thing. I could see myself. I told Nikki, like, if we'd have done that in a hotel room, and I just kept looping and looping, and I'd have been like, okay, this could just be fake. I'm gonna wait 30 years. Well, 30 years went by, in my mind, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll wait 50 years. Okay, 50 years went by. All right, if it gets to 100 years, I'm jumping off this,
Well, right.
and then maybe it'll wake me up if I jump off this thing, or maybe I'll loop back from there.
No, you would die.
And yeah, and it's like you have no idea how easily you can just trick
lose
yourself. Yeah,
Snap.
completely
Snap. That's why they call it the term snapping, because just like that, it can happen,
It's gone.
and yeah, you're fucked. You're gone. But I'm kind of curious about, because I don't think we ever really got too far into it. I mean, we've discussed it plenty of times because me and you are the only ones who can actually really talk about it, because we're the only ones who went
Had
through
that-
it.
had that, yeah.
Experience. And maybe some listeners out there have had similar experiences with drugs and things, but realized this is something that was legal.
Yeah.
So imagine how many people were exposed to this out there. And, there are people that died from this.
Yeah.
They literally lost their mind over this. I
Had
mean, I think
seizures
there's
and shit.
yeah, I think there's rare occasion make
Brain
your
dead.
heart beat. Heart attack. I'm imagining heart attacks had to happen too, because I remember I was so had dry mouth really bad. I was so dehydrated. My heart was beating so fast, and I remember they're taking my pulse and everything while we were in the back of the ambulance together.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, do you want to go to the hospital?" And at that point, I didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
And thank God I said, no, I'm fine. But then I don't know. I'm glad I went through it, but I think I'd have to agree with you. There's no freaking way I could go out and do some sort of drug to try it or
Yeah,
anything,
no way.
because God, just off of that little low grade fake crap, look what happened.
And you know me, I don't do drugs. I don't experiment with things like that. I'm like the prudest it goes to as far. I barely drink.
Right.
It's the fucking news that got me to do it. They kept. I mean, it was like
Kept talking about it.
It's completely legal.
They're
Kids
like-
can go and buy it right now.
That's
And
like
I'm-
that episode in South Park where they call it when they're cheesing, where the cat piss.
I didn't
They
see it.
advertised it on TV, but anyway, they advertised it. That's exactly what they do with those type, or Huff and Pain or anything that stuff becomes popular because they do advertise it on the TV. It's like, oh well, what do you think you're gonna do now? You're
Yeah.
just gonna, of course,
You're
you're
showing
gonna go
all
out and do
these.
it.
I never would have heard about it if it wasn't on the news. That would have been just something skeevy stoners would have known about. Going to Hot Topic. Oh, try our spice.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I would never would have heard about it, but it gets on Main Street TV, and then the suburb kids are like, hey, it's legal.
Right.
I can try this.
Oh,
I would like to try marijuana, but this stuff's legal and way more fucking dangerous.
right.
Doesn't make any sense, but yeah, that was God, that was fucking scary, really scary. But that's what I was saying with the deprivation tank. I had a similar experience, not scary. Like this was completely a calm experience where I was in complete control.
And no drugs or anything.
No
either,
drugs,
you know,
yeah,
it's
just
all
your
natural.
mind and. But I had a thing, showing me, this is and with the drug, they showed me the Big Bang, and they showed me like the whole universe being created
Yes.
and everything. But it was a thing that didn't feel like me, showing me like it was like a guide that it was fucking freaking me out. But when I did it in the tank, it was way more chill.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's this guide that's not really me, but I'm just going to follow, and I'm in complete control. I can get out of this tank whenever I
Right,
want.
yeah.
You have that kind of like
That's
that
the
feeling of
drugs.
security.
You're locked in.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, you're fucked. And I researched a lot because it freaked me out. Like, oh my God, am I going to be a fucking crazy person after this? But that looping thing is very common with hallucinogens.
Yeah.
That
I
looping
think I've
thing.
heard. I think I heard that.
And there's something else called ego death, where
Never heard that.
it's like what people on mushrooms, like that's what they try to achieve, is something called
Oh.
ego death, where you completely realize that you're worth nothing, and like you just completely let yourself go. And I don't know, I read a bit about it before. I didn't experience that.
I guess it's some sort of stage of euphoria or something.
It's like it's super stressful, where you're freaking out, you're flipping out, and then you just kind of let it go, and you just realize, I'm nothing. I'm one with the universe. I'm one with
okay.
all, and they call it ego death, but people can look it up. But I didn't experience that. I just experienced hell for 100 years.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to ask you. How can you describe experiencing years in a very short amount of time?
It's the most. God, it's like it's just the most horrible feeling ever. And I remember, because I didn't believe in God, and I always have this thought, like, if a God that loves you so much, there's no possible way that they could put you in a hell. And to me, a hell would be something that's repeating over and over and over again.
Yes.
That would be a hell. And I just remember, Josh knows this. Josh kept saying that I would look at him and I would laugh. And I was
Yeah, I remember
laughing.
that.
I was laughing at God. I'm not laughing at God, but laughing with God. I was laughing like, you do this. Like, you are you sly motherfucker, you know, like I'm like, holy shit, you know, you really can just put your kids in hell, like you're gonna keep me here for all eternity. Wow, you're
I
a
know.
sly motherfucker, and I just started laughing, but it was a fear laugh, like, you know, just
Like you're fucked.
yeah, like a fucked laugh. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I was there forever.
I mean, but
Ugh.
I mean, did you do anything other than just loop? And I
No,
mean,
just
that's
loop.
what I mean. Like, how do you know
No,
it
I
was
would-
100 years?
I would look over when I would look at Cooper's leash, because I was walking Cooper at the time. I would have my whole life flash from birth to that point, and it was my whole life. I mean, in great detail. And then I would loop, you know, and I would try to change the loop. I'd try to change the loop, and then I would go back to the leash, and then my life would start over, and I would do the whole life, and then I would
Oh,
go all
man.
around, and just so your whole life, you know, it's however old we were, 19, 20 years.
yeah.
I lived the whole life, like the whole life, everything in detail, like things that had to have been made up because, you know, it was just like a dream maybe, because you don't remember every single day you ever lived,
Right.
but I lived them. Like I was, during the moments, I'm
man.
just like, what the fuck? Like I'm here. Like, oh, dude,
that is,
it was.
that is
yeah,
freaky.
It's fucking freaky. Really freaky.
Just imagine that drug. You know, that's like time travel.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Just imagine if they could create a drug for somebody to send you back through your own
Your own life.
mind.
Yeah.
You know, and just start your life over. Hit the reset button.
Yeah.
Damn.
There's a theory of, I guess I don't want to say it's reincarnation, but you know, they say that like when you die, your life flashes in front of your eyes,
Yeah.
or a lot of times people will say like, I wish I knew what the theory was, but basically, right when you're at that point of dying, you really do take back every single memory that you had, and you relive your life, but you remember some things. So like it's like deja vu, or you have that voice in your head that says, "Oh, don't do this, do this." It's because you remember living it, so you change the outcome. And when you change the outcome, you spider down a new track, and you spider down that track. And then when you die in that track, the same thing happens. You completely start over, and you keep living your life. And all of this happens like, say you're in a car accident. All of this
Yeah.
happens in a second, like a millisecond. Bam! But your mind releases so many chemicals in that millisecond
Just makes
that
it
you're
slow
living.
down, I guess.
You're
Yeah.
living 100 lives, and you just keep living those lives and living those lives and living those lives forever. Like it never stops. And those millisecond of chemicals is 1 billion years worth of experience
Yeah, I guess
that
that's
you
true.
have during that millisecond. And you think about that, and you're like, whoa, you know, that could totally, after living that,
What
after
if-
going through that
What if that was
experience,
heaven?
Yeah.
Seriously, now that you're putting it like that. I mean, what if that's what happens when you die, that you're just locked into this chemical frenzy and you just live the rest of your existence that way?
Yeah.
And if you believe in God, then maybe your mind's trained to make you think it's heaven, and if you're not, then there's nothing. Or maybe it's hell,
Yeah.
to where you just repeat, you know, your life, and that would
shitty-
be pretty hellish.
Yeah.
Just repeat your shitty fucking life over and over.
Yeah.
What a hell that would be.
That would be bad. Gosh. Yeah, so I guess you never know.
I say we should go get some of that and do it right now.
Oh, fuck
on
that.
this podcast.
Fuck that.
Never
Fuck
again.
that.
No way.
No, but that's why, because things like that intrigue me. I'm so interested in weird, kooky things, the mind, just things that we don't understand as a human race. It just intrigues me so much. So that's why I love this idea of the float tank, is because you're able to put yourself in a controlled environment that you completely are aware of, but you could still have experiences that you can't otherwise have unless either chemically induced or, you know, depriving yourself of your senses.
I mean, I think we should totally.
Do another trip to go
well,
out
I was
there.
just gonna say we should.
to
Well, I
Kansas
mean,
City?
do another trip, but I think we should buy one. I mean, there's a lot of benefits with people who own these float tanks. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot
Oh,
of people get relaxed. It
Yeah.
helps them focus.
You're laying in Epsom
Um,
salt, so I mean it's good for your
yeah,
body. It's good for your
great
skin.
exfoliant. Yeah, exfoliant.
There's a lot of diagrams online. There's actually a guy that is on the GoFundMe thing that
Mhm.
he built one that's, I think it's like $1,200,
Yeah.
and it's made of a waterproof canvas, and you just fill it up. I mean, the most expensive thing would be the salt. You got to buy
I mean,
2,000 pounds of salt.
$1,200. I mean, that's
Totally worth it.
dude. That's $800 total profit, or total profit. I'm thinking profit because we could totally sell it to
Charge
people,
people to-
charge people to do it as well. Create a side spa for ourselves. We could call it the cave spa.
So yeah, and I've talked about that too. That would do great here, I think. If you could open up a deprivation tank.
There's no one around. There's
Yeah.
none of them around here. I mean, I
The
think
closest
we totally
one
should.
is Peoria, Illinois, and then there's one
Columbia.
in Kansas City.
Or you go Kansas City. I
Kansas
thought it was
City.
in Columbia. No, it's
in
not.
and the one in
It's
Kansas
4 hours
City,
away.
the one that I went to, isn't a true deprivation tank. It's a float tank. So they have lights in there, and if you want them to, they'll play music, but you don't get
It's
the
more
same
like because
experience.
it's at a spa.
It's at a spa.
They're trying
Yeah,
to make
it's
it more
to make a relaxing
Right.
thing. But I think the one in Peoria is a true deprivation tank.
That's one we should go to. So
Yeah.
did you have to have lights on when you did it?
yeah.
See, that
The-
sucks. That kind of
I tried to like put this. They had like a mask. I tried to put over my eyes, but then I could feel the mask. So I was like, it'll be
yeah.
easier if I just close my eyes. But you could still see like a hint of red, when you close your eyes, but there's a light.
yeah.
So that kind of took away from the experience, I think. But she
We totally
told-
should.
I told her next time I come, could I bring a piece of electrical tape? And she said, yeah, no problem, because it's just a tiny little LED light.
Oh well, yeah.
So you could just bring a piece of electrical tape and tape it
We
up.
totally need to, but I think totally after we do it, we should invest and get one because there's a lot of benefits. People that use it every day say that they get a lot more focus. It helps with their creativity and things like that too.
Yeah, they say an hour in a float tank, like once you get good at it, is the same as 8 hours of sleep. Like as far as your brain
Yeah.
waves and being able to get rested.
And if you and your spirit guy get to hang out every day too.
Yeah, no shit.
That's
He was
really
a
cool.
dude. He was kind of persistent, but he was
I
a
mean,
cool dude.
Kind of a little bit of a prick, but you have a beer with him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
go out and have a drink in the spirit world.
I'd like to. Have you heard about this ayahuasca?
No, what is
Yeah,
that?
It's a Joe Rogan talks about all the time. It's a plant that's I think it's native to South America. It may be native to here too. I don't know. I think it's illegal here though.
No.
But it has what the hell? They call it the spirit molecule. I watched a documentary on it. DMT.
Oh yeah, isn't that pretty similar to X?
No, it's made in everything. Like you find it in everything, but you can't just it's out in the tree out there. But I can't just eat the roots and have DMT come into my body.
But it has to be broken down or
yeah,
something?
there's something in your stomach that like stops it, that inhibits it from you having to a reaction to it.
Oh.
But they make this ayahuasca tea, and it has like a inhibitor to the inhibitor, and you drink it, and you have the full effects of DMT. And supposedly, it's a hallucinogen, but it's like acid on acid. I mean, it's like the craziest hallucinogen you can get, and like it's made in your mind. There's a ton of DMT in your pineal gland. How the fuck do you say it?
I don't know. The only P gland I can think of is pituitary, but that's not it.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe it is. No, it's not. It's pineal gland. Pineal. DMT in the brain. Oh, where is it found?
So DMT is dimethyltryptamine. That's difficult to say.
Yeah, pineal gland. Pineal. Pineal gland. I guess that's how you say it. Fuck, I don't know. Well, anyway, some people think that's released when you die, and that's kind of like that experience we were talking about. That you're having this crazy hallucinogenic experience. But yeah, this stuff's fucking crazy. You go down to South America and you have these shamans give you this ayahuasca and you drink it.
That's what they say. A lot of South African shamanic, or what is it? Shamanic, I guess is how you say it.
Shamanic
with
rituals.
those plants, and they drink. So it's usually one of the main active constituents of the drink. I don't know how to say it. It's ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Oh, Thanks, man. Okay. Yes, ayahuasca. Okay, so it is brewed with plants that do not produce DMT. It only occurs as a primary psychoactive alkaloid in several plants, including Mimosa tiniflora, Diflo. I am not even going to try it. Jeez.
So basically, it's in a lot of plants.
Yeah, it just says it's kind of all over bark, the pods, beans. Yeah.
I don't know. I bet like that's where religion comes from. Like that's got to be where.
Who else would come up with a fucking crazy ass idea like that?
I think like people from forever ago took something like this, and they just had this fucking experience that maybe we're just ingrained to have. Maybe you're supposed to have this feeling of a spirit guide showing you. Maybe it's not really an entity itself. It's just that's the way our brains are wired. That if you fuck it up and put certain chemicals in it, you have this reaction.
Yeah.
In the same way, when we get hot, we sweat. You know, it's like just a regular, normal reaction.
Yeah.
But you wake up from that, and it totally feels so real, just as real as the world you live in, that you know, maybe that's like, holy fuck, that was something. And then maybe that's how religion was born and civilization. And, I mean, this may be, like, just as important to our evolution as fucking hands, you know, the opposable thumb.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think that.
That's, I mean, anything that you could think, and probably someone out there believes in it and has a following. I mean, just think about all the people out there that follow fucking monkey goats. I don't know, just some crazy shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But no, that's very interesting, and that could 100% believe. I mean, that could be everything. You know, that could be the key to everything. What's the meaning of life? Well, because back in the day, someone ate this fucking plant, and they thought there was a god, and that's really it. But basically, no, we're just fucking. You know, as Mr. Garrison would say, we're a bunch of fish frogs. You know, just coming out of the primordial ooze.
There's a theory that we evolved from apes because of hallucinogens. That we were just this ape that happened to accidentally eat or drink this hallucinogen, and it unlocked like a piece of our mind where we saw and viewed the world in a different way, and that's how we kind of just broke out of this animal
Interesting.
into something more than just a mammal that's roaming the earth. Because if you think about it, like, it's crazy that we're the only ones that are like us. You know what I mean? Like,
very true.
You look at a cow and you look at a horse. They're similar. You know, similar intelligence. They have 4 legs. They have babies similar.
There's only like 2 mammals that have sex for pleasure.
Was it dolphins and
humans? And there may be some other, but I'm just saying those are like the 2 main ones.
But you look at humans, like, there's nothing else like us. You know, like, there's nothing else that I can compare us to. You know,
not on this planet, and that's why I
it.
Definitely believe there has to be some.
You think we were
life.
seeded here?
I mean, that's very much possible. Very much. I mean, with I don't know, and I know this is kind of a stupid comparison, but if you ever watched, you know, Star Trek or you know, Star Wars or, you know, any of those movies, have you watched any of the older Star Treks or even some of the newer ones, like, you know, Star Trek Enterprise?
I've been getting
some of the small
vagina
series.
since I was about 13, so no, I haven't watched any of those.
But anyway, so you know, the point is that all these shows have these, I don't know, I guess, I don't know how you want to look at it, how they view aliens or whatever on the show. If they go to an alien planet, they land, and there's one type of alien.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then maybe one type of plant life and one type of animal life.
Uh-huh.
And that's, you know, all in one planet. You know, look at our planet. We've got
a lot of
millions and millions of different types of plants and animals. And then, you know, of course, us. We're just us. You know, there's only one type of, you know, evolved, you know, level of, you know, intelligent life on the planet. But just imagine if we were seeded and maybe there's a planet with all deer. Maybe there's a planet with all cows. And they just put a bunch, one animal or one life form from every single planet.
Maybe we are Noah's Ark. Like,
exactly.
Maybe Noah's Ark didn't happen on Earth. Maybe Earth is Noah's Ark.
We have one.
Oh shit!
2x2, motherfucker.
That's deep.
We just blew this shit off.
That's
right
deep.
Here. You heard it first on The Cave, motherfucker. We just fucking solved the meaning of life.
Gosh. So let's talk about this. The Obama administration fucking your job.
Well, it's not just Obama, but part of it is the government. It's basically the government. I think earlier, I wonder if I had spoken on this in a previous episode. I don't know, but I used to have a contract all to myself. I do student loan collections. I know that you guys may know that. But I had a contract all by myself, and I was very, 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 very profitable. It was very lucrative, made a lot of money, and did very well. We were number one out of 50 different guarantor agencies that the Department of Education grades. They oversee all the collections of everything out there that's federal. And I had the Student Loan Guarantee Foundation of Arkansas, and we liquidated a higher percentage than any other contract. And of the three agencies, my company was number one, and we had 66% of the overall business.
Wow.
Of three agencies. So we obviously had the majority of all the business. So the other 33% went to the other two companies. So you could see that, obviously how much, because of how well I did, brought in crazy money and ranked number one on the contract. Because of the Reasonable and Affordable Act that took place, to where now basically, I'll try to keep it as G-rated as possible, but all the blood-sucking fucking cocksuckers out there that don't work for a living and live off the government.
You know who you are.
You know who you are, motherfuckers. And if you are one of those, why the fuck are you listening to this? You shouldn't even have the money to have internet. Motherfucker. Anyway, the point is that they actually had to shut the contract down. They literally had to sell their business to the Department of Education because they couldn't keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Therefore, I lost my business, lost my contract, therefore lost my profitability. Now, granted, I kept my job, and I'm very thankful for that. But then less than, 8 months later, my company just laid off about 70 employees, which would represent probably, I would say, 30% of our workforce.
Is that just the St. Louis branch?
That's our whole 3 offices, but our office alone, we lost 20 people.
Oh, my gosh.
We lost 14 collectors and 6
managers?
salaried managers.
Oh, my gosh.
Some of them, one of them specifically, was there for 6 years.
Is Brian still there?
Yeah, Brian is.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah,
he's in the garnishment department. And I was one of the fortunate managers not to lose anybody. I didn't.
Oh, so your whole team's still there?
My whole team is there, which
that's awesome.
that shows good on me.
Yeah.
Because I still have my whole staff, and I was the
So maybe they'll kind of look. They won't take the fact that you're a hard ass for granted. Like the reason I'm a hard ass.
Yeah,
and how
I
you
mean,
all keep your jobs.
literally because of that, because of how I manage and how I am at work. I was actually one of the people that had to go and get the employees when we were firing them.
That sucks.
I had to go. I'd get a name. I'd go into the office. I'd say, "Go get this person." I had to go get the person. And after the first 1 or 2 people, after I'm escorting them out to the HR, because I had a script. I had to say, "Hi, could you please grab all of your immediate personal items, your keys, coat, purse, any immediate personal effects, and come with me to Human Resources, please."
Oh, fuck.
To each and every one of them, including 6 managers that I've worked closely with. Some of them I've worked with 6 years. Some of them several.
So they had
years.
no notice, like you're gone.
No
You
notice.
don't come in tomorrow.
Oh no! I mean, it was coming on Friday, and you were fired by 11:30.
Oh shit.
So over the
So
span
did they
of about
get
2
severance
hours
or anything?
I don't know. I'm still in touch with a couple of the managers just because even though I was the one that the Grim Reaper, as they call it at work, going and bringing these people to get fired, I still keep in touch, and I plan on following up with them and see what they got. But I don't know if they're gonna want to tell me that. I'm probably not their most favorite person.
I'm sure.
Considering what I had to do, it sucked, and then also to find out that they're not going to be offering the promotion.
Yeah, that big job you had lined up.
Big job that I had lined up for quite a while now. They did this 2 years ago, fucked me over. Now they did it again, and no review for a raise either.
Damn.
I haven't had one of those in over a year as well. And in the time that I've been there, 7 years I've been there, I've only had three raises.
Wow.
3. So, needless to say, I'm not a happy camper, but they asked me to do that job because I am kind of a hard ass, and I guess they knew that I could do it, and people weren't going to talk back to me, I guess.
Yeah.
They had me do it. So,
God, that sucks though.
But
hard
yeah,
ass or not, that sucks.
Yeah, but basically, the Department of Education had to transition to a different operating system per the Department of Education and the federal government. So this system has taken years and years to where the point where they weren't even paying paychecks really because of how long the system wasn't operational. They were basically asking the collection agency, okay, how much do we have to pay you?
Yeah.
And if a company was off, when the system comes back up, they're going to go back through all these books. So there could be companies that got overpaid, and now hopefully they're going to be, our company is going to be underpaid because typically our company goes so far to the left when something happens, we overcompensate for change that's not going to affect us. But because of how much this lost revenue has affected us, that's why we have to cut cut the jobs. Same reason why we had to cut the contract, except that contract was really stolen out from underneath my feet. Company didn't lose it; it was sold. It was liquidated
to the government,
to the
to
government.
a public. See, there's a great book written by Cicero. It's a old philosopher, and it's called On Obligations. And it's my Bible. As a non-religious person, it's my Bible. Like it just tells you about the morals and ethics of human beings and how you should do things and your obligation as a human being and the order of things. But there's something he says in there that public things should remain public and private things should remain private. And it's so true. Like it's so, when we muddy those waters where the government takes over our health insurance, or the government takes over our education, or the government takes over. These were private entities that, had their flaws, but they've worked for years and years and years and years.
Right.
And the public sector tries to take over them, and there's this wishy-washy point where it's the transition stage where so much shit gets fucked up that they should just leave it the way it is. And a lot of people say, oh, there's so much money in education now, and people are getting ripped off, and the public sector needs to take over, and they need to make sure it's regulated. But they're the fucking reason that these prices of universities have skyrocketed.
Yes.
It's because of the amount of money that they're able to give to the universities, the public, being the government. It inflates the price. I mean, college 30 years ago, you could work, have a job, and pay off college, and you were debt-free when you left.
Yep.
It's not like that anymore.
Not
I took 18 between 15 and 18 credit hours every semester. I worked a 40-hour-a-week job. I usually worked 2 20-hour-a-week part-time jobs, so I didn't get any benefits that I would of a 40-hour-a-week job. And I had just enough to pay for a living. I couldn't pay anything towards my loans.
Yep.
So you get out and you have $30,000 to $40,000 in loan debt
or more. I deal with crazy amounts of debt.
Yeah. And it's just every time I read that book, I think of that, where private should say private and public should say public, that we need to do that. We need to stop trying to make everything so universal and it just makes me sick. Makes me wonder what the real objective is of a lot of this stuff.
There's no real objective other than just control and
money and control. I guess they're one and the same now. Anyway,
pretty much.
The ones that hold the money have the control. So
pretty much, yeah.
It's scary.
It is, and it definitely isn't making it any better when pretty soon the government is already, bending us over and fucking us real deep. So it's not only a matter of time to where they're going to control every aspect of our lives. I made a boo-boo, and I owe the government some money from taxes. But, for 1 year, I would never have imagined I owed them that much. It's fucking ridiculous. 1 year of just, trying to, every once in a while filing an exempt because I needed the money.
Yeah.
To turn into this, to turn into, holy fuck, I'm never going to get out of this bullshit IRS debt. Of course I will. I'll pay it off. But the point is that it's crazy. You could do everything right your whole entire life and just take a year off and you're fucked.
I hate using the word slavery because, I don't want to use that word lightly, but it just seems like the taxation system is a complete servitude of people. Like
That's
we're just
fucking crazy.
That they keep us in debt, they keep us working, they keep us in needing of paying them so much money. It's ridiculous how much. When I worked at the Senior Solutions, and I made nothing there, absolutely nothing.
I didn't mean to laugh,
but I literally made almost nothing there. Like $8 an hour once it was all said and done. But I had to file a 1099 because I was just working for a guy. No taxes were taken out, and you don't get anything. Like it's a flat tax when you do a 1099. It's like 12% or 15%. I forget what it was, but it was just just a flat tax, like if whether I made so much or whether I
Really?
made nothing. Yeah, and it was like so much of my money.
No matter what.
It was well, the thing is with the 1099 is you can do a lot of exemptions, but I was going to a phone center.
Yeah, what
and
exemptions
what
could you
can I-
do?
Yeah,
Gas,
nothing.
maybe.
Yeah, gas, and that was it. And it was
Because you can't use your
so-
cell phone because I'm
Yeah.
sure.
You had to.
Yeah,
know,
you had your own
everything-
phone at your job.
There, I didn't need a cell phone. It was nothing I could. And now people that know the system and have a lot of money, they would know loopholes and ways to rape that whole system. And
Yeah.
it's like when I went to Lindenwood, the guy that coached the golf team, he was the business law teacher, and he said that a lot of the golfers and a lot of golf kids usually come from money, but a lot of them had free rides to Lindenwood, and one of them, his dad owned like the Quick Trips in the metro area, like
Mhm.
all like probably 20 Quick Trips in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So the guy was loaded, and they was joking about how he didn't pay any tuition, and the teacher asked him, he says, "How in the your dad's a millionaire? How do you not have to pay?" And he says, "Oh, Dad's got a good what are they called? A good accountant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But Dad's got a really good accountant, so they're able to cook the books in ways to make them get Pell Grants and all these.
You know, it was this was brought up something I watched where Mitt Romney was taxed lower than the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Maybe I'm inaccurate 100% with that statement, but
Like
the general,
percentage wise.
But yeah, he was taxed, and he made something like $300 to $400,000 or so, or maybe more than that.
Probably.
I mean, with his contributions and the fact that he was just, I guess the running mate against, or not the running mate, but you know what I mean, the whoever was against Obama in this last election. But I mean,
See that's the thing with
fuck is that possible?
with our tax system is you look at the tax laws and it's a book that's bigger than a New York phone book, and that's only going to benefit people that have the time and the money and the resources to do the research to figure out the loopholes and figure out. I mean, a tax code should be no longer than a piece of paper. I mean, it should be a cover sheet. That's it. You don't need all these rules, all these laws, all these fucking loopholes, because it only benefits those that have the resources to do it. Hey, I told you to tell her to wear something sexy. I didn't say fucking nasty flannel. Yeah, you do actually.
Creepy.
Bye. But I forgot what I was saying because all my blood rushed away from my brain.
Into your wiener.
But yeah, it's just it benefits the rich. Definitely benefits the rich.
Absolutely. And unless we had the time and, I mean, because some people go to fucking college just to get one over on the government. Get a college degree and fucking over to government.
No, I mean,
I got my BA in butt fuck.
we've already started saving for Mason's college, and for birthdays and Christmases, we just tell people to, give money to his college fund. And Devin was saying the other day, she said, "How much does he have? Does he have quite a bit?" Nikki's like, "Oh yeah, we got like $700 or so saved so far."
That's good.
And I said, I really think, and this was, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I said, I really think that when Mason's at the age to go to college, that I don't think universities will be what they are now. I don't think.
No, I mean, they've already changed so much.
I don't even think, because you think back to the 1900s, I mean, all the way through the 1900s, from 1900 to 1999, universities were a place to get information because information was rare. Information was a rarity. Not everyone had information. But today,
You can just look something up.
you can just, information is everywhere. I literally, Mason could get a 1975 Harvard education from free websites right now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I think by the time he's, 25 or 20, college age, it's going to be it would be stupid to pay to go to a university because you're going to gain the same amount of knowledge from just free stuff.
Unless
Why?
they start locking down,
That's I think that's the next step. I think it's important to keep information rare because information is money.
Oh, of course,
and
just
to
like anything else.
And to let information run free to the masses is a trouble spot for those that are in control and those that have power. And that's why people really need to look into this, where they're getting ready to turn the internet into like a utility. They're trying to make it a public thing as opposed to the private thing it is now.
Yeah.
Because once they have control, basically they're going to make it to where ISPs can say, okay, Netflix uses a lot of our bandwidth, so we're going to charge Netflix more money to use our highways than we would, say, Jeff's website.
Yeah.
Well, what they could do is they could make your website so slow because you're not paying the big bucks. Netflix can pay all this money to get all the highway lanes to where all you have is like a shoulder and exit lane. So you, this little guy, maybe you have great information, but you don't have the capital that Netflix has. You're shut down.
It's just like with business now on the internet, because the number one way of advertising still is the internet now. I mean, most people would say that they pick their advertisement or anything they find out is through the internet, whether it's streaming Netflix or Hulu or, something like that. They're still getting their advertisements there, right then and there. Or if you're online, most people use the internet more frequently than cable. And where did you get advertisements back in the day? Well, cable, commercials. But now, who the fuck has cable? I mean, you probably. I think you still have cable or Dish or something.
No, we don't have cable.
But you used to.
Used to.
That was probably a while ago. I haven't had cable for, I don't know, 2.5 years. And, my price went from $150 down to, I pay like $17 a month now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot better. But that's where all that ad space comes into, is the pay-per-click on Google. You have to pay a lot of money. Some companies are probably paying $5 every time somebody clicks their link, because that's what they bid for on their ad space.
Yeah.
Same thing with education. The better the information, the more it could cost. That's kind of with the way the schools are working now, except in the digital age, it's just going to be like, how you're thinking, it's going to be locked down because power is money.
I hope not.
I'm just
really
saying,
not.
because the if the internet is and can stay the way that it is now, where it's open and public and free, well, that's very good. That's good, and that's something that we can actually say as a people is an accomplishment, that we are able to share everything so freely and openly and cheap. And share this, for instance, us sitting here bullshitting about this.
Yeah.
But we couldn't have done this 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I mean, there's no way we could have. And it's very awesome that we're able to.
Yeah.
It's a good place we're living in right now that we're able to do this.
Yeah, let's just hope it lasts.
I hope so, yeah.
Did you hear now, and see, I didn't read it, I wish I would have, but there was a little blip on Facebook that said that they're trying to get a bill passed that the first 2 years would be free, like first 2 years of a community college would be free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't read that.
And see, God, I have such an issue with education now, because when I went to school, I paid for everything. I didn't have help, and like I didn't have parents' help. And parents don't have money, and it's my education. I should pay for it. I truly believe that. I appreciated it more. I wanted to go to school, but for me, I'm not a super smart guy. Never was a school guy. I hate school. I don't like the way it works. I was always a great test taker, but as far as doing the homework and doing the work, I'm just lazy. But when I went to college, I thought, this needs to be hard. I'm a middle of the road to lower middle of the road type of person that would go to college. This needs to be hard. It was a fucking breeze. It was way too fucking easy. And I would look around and I would see, I'm like, oh my God. Like there was a class. It was business management, and he would put, not anybody's name, but he would put the top test scores and how many people would score like 100% and how many people score 99, how many people score 98. And we took 5 tests, every single one, I was the top test scorer. And I looked around in this class and I'm like, none of these fucking people should be here. I should be in the middle of the road, and there needs to be people above me in this class. This is not right. And I'm looking around thinking, you should be fucking flipping burgers. You should be you should be doing this. It was way too overloaded.
They let everybody in college, man.
Yes, and it was disgusting.
Why do you think I have such a good job? Honestly, because they let anybody in fucking college, and they're dumbasses, and then they default on their loans. But anyway, go ahead.
It's true. I mean, it was scary to me to think, God, this is where we've come. Like, some of these people shouldn't even have graduated high school. And that's what it is they let people in because they want the money.
Oh yeah.
But colleges get graded on graduation rates. So if you just let everybody in and nobody's graduating,
do that, yeah.
then nobody's going to
So they
come
make
to
it
your
too
college.
easy.
Yeah, they're never going to come to your college. So they have to make it easier for the drones of people that they're letting in so that their graduation rates still stay high. But by doing that, you're affecting those that want to go to get a good education because you're making it too easy. You're not making it a struggle for them. They're paying all this money for a piece of paper that there's nothing behind it. I mean, there's absolutely nothing behind it.
I mean, basically, you could pay more money to get a better education. Like like you said, it's too easy. If you wanted to pay another $25,000, you can go get a master's.
See, that's the thing is, I don't want to play the game anymore.
No, I'm being sarcastic. I'm
They-
saying that's the ideal of our world.
No,
is that,
yeah.
Oh, you can go
I
pay
see what you
another
mean.
$25,000 for a master's,
Yeah.
and you're good to go. That
Yeah.
piece of paper is going to do so much for you.
See, and that's kind of where we've come is, associates is now like your first 2 year of high school, first 2 years of high school.
Yeah.
Your bachelor's is like graduating high school now. So now the real college is going to get your master's.
Yeah, no, that really is, because
This is-
now I don't have a college education. I went to school with the best intentions. It just didn't work out. It's something that I will be going back for because I have to. At this point, my job is requiring education to go further in the job in the company. You have to have a bachelor's. It's not even an associate's. We're talking about a job I've worked for 7 years.
And
They're
they still
telling me
want
at
you.
this point, with all of my experience, I'm going to be a better employee if I go to a 4-year college or university and get some bachelor's in, I don't know, English literature. You're telling me that is going to make me a more efficient employee doing student loan collections?
Yeah.
That makes me worthy to be a site director or an operations manager or at some point a VP? Fuck no. That has nothing to do with it. But once again, because of how everybody values that piece of paper, that's kind of the standard now, is that you need to have it.
See, I'm glad that I'm at a job like my position. You have to have a bachelor's in business or accounting or something in that field. So I'm glad that I'm at a job where you have to have that piece of paper, because that gives me some kind of like, okay, well, at least if I wouldn't have went to college, I couldn't have this job that I have now. But it so surprises me, like so many people right now that have a bachelor's who don't have jobs where you need a bachelor's. And they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to go get my master's. And it's like, you've already been fucked by the system once, and you're just going to keep playing into it. And it's everywhere. I mean, everybody's got this mindset, I got to get my master's, Now, if I do try to pursue teaching again, I will go back and get my master's because I have to. I'm not going to go get my master's and then hope for there's a better job out there for me. And like you said, you're at a job now. If you want to get higher up, you have to get a bachelor's. If you want to play the game, that's the way to play it. Don't go, well, now I got my bachelor's and I can't find a job, so I'm going to go get my master's.
They're probably less likely to hire you having a master's.
Well, in teaching, that's definitely true.
Yep,
I sat down with a few advisors, and I said, what kind of advice can you give me? And they said, don't take any classes until you have a job. Once you have your bachelor's, take your praxis, get a job, then get your master's. They said they had like 200 applicants for a job interview. They take all the masters, they put them in a pile, and they shove them off the desk into the trash.
Yep.
Because in teaching, you're an automatic grade scale or a pay scale up if you have a master's. So with schools struggling right now with finances, they don't want to pay that extra money right now. And for me hearing that tells me that the master's really isn't worth the amount of money that they're paying for it.
Not at all.
So schools don't view masters as a valuable thing, because if the value of having your masters was worth more than the amount of money that they had to pay you, then they would keep those at the top. They would keep the masters applicants at the top. But
that's how it used to be.
Yeah,
That's how it
exactly.
used to
Because
be.
you used to get an education with your certificate, but now you're not.
It's
And-
more just like you said, a high school diploma.
Yeah, it's disgusting, because we've spent so much money and resources and time. So much time of my life was spent, getting this thing, and we've been told this lie all of our life that you get this, you're golden. And I'm not complaining. Nikki and I have it good. We both have good jobs. We both have a bachelor's. We have a son. We have a house. We both have running cars.
Yeah.
Like, we have it really good, but we've had to fucking work. Like, it's a nonstop struggle. And I think to myself, like, yeah, we have it really good, but as much time and money and as effort that we do every day, we should be, we shouldn't have to live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
You should have a solid ground, great savings. You want to take a vacation? Take a fucking vacation.
It shouldn't be an issue.
Nikki and I have been on a honeymoon in 14 years. That's
Mhm.
We go to Kansas City, we go to Hannibal. Like, that's how we have to do vacations. We have to stay within the state.
Yep.
And some people do it. Like, they'll go on vacations, and I don't know if they just put it on credit cards or what, but and maybe I'm just too tight, where I'm like, I have to have something sitting, if emergencies happen or something. But
Yeah.
But I promised her we go to a beach this year, so
Oh, well, that's good stuff, man.
got to bite the bullet this year.
Well, take the vacation. It's fun. It's worth it.
It's going to be Fugitive Beach in Rolla, Missouri, but it'll be a beach. No.
Yes.
No, she wants to go to fucking Florida, and I hate.
That's where Katie wants to go.
I hate Florida. I fucking hate
That's
Florida.
where all the old people go.
See, I like California. I've been to California.
Oh my God, that is. That's what I told Katie. She wants to go to Florida. I'm like, I would want to go to California.
Yeah.
It's close. It's close to Nevada. So if we did get a an itch up our ass, we could totally drive to Las Vegas.
See, my thing is, California's a cold current. Way better waves. Like, if you want to go to an ocean, you got to go to a cold current, fucking badass waves. And anywhere in Florida that it's always in the Gulf, which is like shitty, fucking nasty Gulf
Green
water, gross no big waves. And for me, vacation, it's not about the beach, it's not about the sand, it's not about the babes. It's about the fucking food, man.
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm a 280-pound man who loves food.
I
don't do seafood. And Florida's like all great seafood, which
Mhm.
is great if you like seafood, but I want to go to San Diego, man. Get some fucking great ass burritos and fucking
some chimichangas,
Chingala,
some
wey.
burritos, some
But-
chalupas.
She wins because I'll be miserable either way. I'll be sunburnt. I'll be bitching. Might as well be bitching in Florida, because if she can be happy, then that's at least something.
At least you got that taken care of.
But where are you guys going this year? Anything planned?
No, nothing this year. This is, well, I don't know. I guess it kind of depends. Step one is to propose. Katie, I know you're probably not listening to this anyway, so, but to propose, and then maybe, obviously we won't be getting married this year. That'll be to come. But I definitely want to save for an actual honeymoon. That would be something I want to do, because at our last vacation, or actually really, in the 5 years or whatever we've been together, we've only been to Colorado, and that was very recent. That was like 7 or 8 months ago. So we were together for a long time before we
That was a
went on
cool trip,
vacation.
though.
Oh my God, it was incredible. Man, Rocky Mountains, I'll tell you what, you will never ever see anything as beautiful. It is just awesome there. And all the different parks and the people too, very interesting people.
Nice.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I wouldn't really
Hippies?
say nice, but there are a lot of hippies, a lot of homeless people too.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, there's a lot of very interesting characters. Like we're walking down the street, and these people about our age, a group of like 6 or 7 people. They look, they obviously weren't older, unemployed people. They just were wearing backpacks, and they're like, oh, maybe they're, whatever it's called, where they, I don't know, walkabout. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Just whatever. They go walk around the state or the country and just get by, so that travel or whatever. What do they call that?
Like hippies?
I don't know. I mean, I guess. But anyway, we were walking by, and we just got done eating, and we had our to-go box. We paid for the fucking food. We're going to take it back, and we're going to eat it later.
Yeah.
Okay? Because, it was like $13 per meal or whatever. So, we're going to take that back and eat it later. And these guys about our age, and I think there's one girl, they're like, hey, are you guys going to eat your leftovers? And we didn't say anything. We're just walking, and I'm thinking, fuck yes, we're gonna eat our leftovers. I wouldn't have taken the time to put it into a to-go box and put it into a bag and carry it out of the restaurant if I wasn't gonna eat it, asshole. But he's like, hey, that's how we survive. As we're walking away, I'm thinking, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's how you survive. Get a new plan. Get a new plan. Stat.
Oh man.
I mean, he literally
That's how
said
we
that though.
survive.
That's how we survive. That's what he says.
Gosh,
And I'm thinking, what the fuck? How does this happen?
how disgusting.
I know, right?
Such a shame. Well, we covered quite a few topics.
Yeah, we did. I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, we're
Absolutely.
doing
Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I think we should all come up with one, and hopefully some listeners of this show, if you guys want to throw in some of the theories maybe that you've come up with, post it down into the comment section below this video, and maybe we could, we'll at least bring it up. I promise you, we'll give you guys a shout out next week. So why don't you guys post what you wanna, what you wanna hear us talk about? We'll talk about our own conspiracies, 9/11.
I'll have to. Corey sent me a link. He wants us to talk about.
Okay.
He actually texted me today, talking about the Muslim Brotherhood and I don't know. He's getting pretty scared of this shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fucking scares the shit out of me for sure. But,
Yeah.
I mean, when he gets scared, that scares me because he knows it firsthand. So.
Military and police.
Yeah, but I think in honor of Martin Luther King Day today, I think I'm gonna do Martin Luther King conspiracy.
There you go.
Did you see that FBI thing that just got released? The suicide note.
No.
Oh, creepy shit.
From who?
They just released it was a blackmail note that the FBI, and they've they've admitted it. Like, yeah, we sent it. It's kind of a black eye for us.
Oh my God.
And it was a blackmail note for Martin Luther King to commit suicide. They were trying to blackmail him to commit suicide.
Why the hell?
They didn't like the rhetoric. They didn't like equal rights. They liked the way.
Well, I
it
mean,
was.
we all know that for sure.
So they like to keep the status quo in their favor. But basically,
That's
he was a cheater. He was according to them, he wasn't faithful to his wife, and they were saying, hey, we know what kind of nasty human being you are. If you don't do what you need to do, we're gonna let your wife know and let the world know what kind of person you are. And, so you know what you need to do. And they gave him you have 34 days. It was like a random number, and it says in there, this seems like a weird number, but it's very specific. You need to die before this day. Like, creepy fucking shit.
God.
Well, the fucking idiots in perfect government fashion, they sent it to his house. His wife opened it. So Dr. Martin Luther King's like, well, you can't really blackmail me to tell my wife that you're cheating when you send her the fucking letter.
Dumbasses.
So obviously he didn't have to commit suicide, but
Yep.
I guess they took care of that now, didn't they?
Yes.
Fucking. They were saying,
I'll have to look that up for next week.
yeah, we'll talk about that. It's some crazy shit. His son and his wife, they don't believe that James Earl Ray, is that James Earl Ray that?
I was thinking James Earl Jones. No, I'm just joking.
No,
I don't really know.
I think, yeah, but that he didn't really kill Dr. Martin Luther King, and he said right after he killed him, he confessed, and then he recanted his confession immediately after, like the day after, because they coerced him to confess.
Oh.
And he's kept that to this day that he didn't kill Dr. Martin Luther King, and Dr. Martin Luther King's whole family believes him. Like they're still trying to figure out what happened to him.
Well, I'm excited to hear the more conspiracy side of things next week.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're sounding off. Hey, an hour and 20 minutes. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very good. So we definitely need your guys' feedback, and thank you very much for listening, you guys.
Want to play some pool?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.